Hi, this is a video for Mining Journal. I'm here with Peter George, who's the managing director of Alicanto Minerals, which is an ASX listed junior with a portfolio of past producing assets in Sweden. Hi, Peter. How's it going?
G'day, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. So Peter and I spoke in early April when Alicanto just got its hands on a bunch of historic assays from its Sala project. They've been doing a lot of drilling at Sala, and I'm going to start by asking Peter for an update on that. Peter, what's been happening? What have you found?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. No, look, we've had some amazing results come back in from some of our own drilling this time, and not just from our historical results, but 4.7 meters at 24.4% zinc, 875 grams per ton silver, and 3.7% lead in some massive sulfides there that we've drilled through in a new area, which just sits just outside of our original targeted area for the maiden resource, but it will fall within our maiden resource, which is coming up in this quarter.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the maiden resource, obviously quite a big focus for you now. You started to talk about some of your future targets for expansion. Sounds interesting. What else can you tell us about that?
Yeah, look, this hit that we've had here, it's well, I'll take a step back. So the majority of our focus over the last 12 months, and it is really only 12 months since we picked up the Sala project, and for us within a 12-month period to be approaching our maiden resource there is quite a phenomenal achievement for the team on the ground. But that's been a combination of about 18,000 metres of our own drilling, plus about 20-odd thousand metres of historical drilling that we've managed to stitch together from several sources for the first time ever. But our main focus has been in and around the Prince deposit, which is a strata-bound sphalerite or zinc-dominated mineralisation, which runs along the edge of the granite in Sala itself. And we've really been looking at, I guess, building up our maiden resource in and around that area. But this latest drill hole that we've hit sits, as I said, just sits on the outside of it. But what it's looking like to us is it could potentially be another repeat of Sala itself. So Sala itself was a structurally dominated galena, I guess dominated by silver, lead with a bit of zinc in it as well, type ore body, which they mined over 5 million tonnes from that particular ore body and pulled over 200 million ounces of silver, so extremely high grade, over 1,244 grams per tonne silver, over about a 400-500 year period. But what we now believe is that we're seeing another structure only 200 metres to the southwest of Sala itself, where Sala was sitting on what we believe to be a synform type structure. This new structure looks like an antiform, and we can see several repeats of these synforms and antiforms heading down towards the southwest. So the potential for further repeats of Sala are quite phenomenal, and these I guess the way I'm describing it is these are a bonus to what we see with the maiden resource in and around the Prince deposit. So, some amazing upside that we can see. So really the maiden resource is just the beginning.
I'm going to take a sort of step away from the drilling side of things and talk a little bit about the geopolitical side of things for now. Clearly, what's happening in Ukraine has had pretty seismic impact on commodity markets, globally, but especially in Europe. Just wondering if you've seen an impact on your business, and then I'm going to ask you a little bit about Sweden's attitude to mining, and if what's happened in Ukraine has had any impact from what you can see on Swedish policy to do with mining, whether that people are getting more encouraging towards developing domestic resources.
Well, when COVID hit, back in the beginning of 2020, there was a lot of disruption around the supply chain of materials there in Europe and Sweden especially. So I could see a real change in the political stance, I guess you could say, in Sweden, even going back 2 years ago now, where the Swedes were becoming quite concerned about their ability to have control of their own supply chain for materials. So really, when the Russians have invaded Ukraine, it's really started to hammer home that same point that the days of globalization to a certain extent are not, I guess they're not over, but there's now going to be a very strong period of looking internally to developing their own projects within Sweden. And in the levels that I'm talking to, in the executive level of a couple of the big mining companies and politicians over there, there's been a massive change in support for exploration and mining companies to get projects, that have perhaps taken a little bit longer than in other parts of the world to really get them up and push them along as quickly as possible. I mean, not just in the critical metals and the battery space, but also in the type of base metals that we're in here with the zinc and the lead. But obviously, with the silver comes as a massive bonus now that we're heavily aligned with the expansion to solar panels and those sorts of green technologies that are really coming to the fore to help countries such as Sweden meet their green network targets and approaching the zero carbon usage within industry as they go forward. So no, there's been a definite switch to a more positivity towards the mining industry, both at a government level and at the level of the people as well.
Okay, Peter. Well, that sounds like one of the few positives to take out of what's otherwise been, a pretty tough couple of years for everyone. So I'm glad to hear that. But I think that pretty much concludes our interview for today. That's all we have time for. So I'd just like to thank you again for joining us.
Great. Thanks for your time, Tom.
Good stuff. And I'm sure we'll speak again soon.